Okay, so in this part, we are continuing to solve some cubics. And for this one, what we're going to see is that in the following, grouping is used to factorize. So when you're doing these, when you are solving, the first thing you need to do is factorize. And what you need to kind of keep your eye out for, as we've seen so far, is, you might be given a really nice example, which is already factorized for you. That's could happen, and it's happy if it happens, but it's unlikely. You might have to take out a common factor, and then if you take out a common factor, you could factorize the quadratic, and then you could get to your answer. Or you might get something a bit yuck. You'd have to complete the square or use the quadratic formula. Or there's this technique here. So this is called factorize by grouping, and you just kind of have to recognize when to use it. So here's the question: x cubed minus 4x squared minus 11x plus 44. And what you have to recognize is that if I was to factorize this first part, and then this second part like here, so the first two and the second two, so I'm grouping those together and just factorize them separately. So in this part right here, I could take out x squared, right? And I would be left with x minus 4. And then for this part here, I could take out 11. So I could take out, or let's take out negative 11. I could take out negative 11, and that will be leaving me with x minus 4. Now, what we want to do is we want to be in a situation where this and this is the same. So do you see how by doing that, by taking out that x squared here and that a negative 11 here, I end up with both of these being the same? And now what I can do is I can take out x minus 4 from both of these and be left with x squared minus 11 is equal to 0. And now once I'm here, I can go, well, x minus 4 is equal to 0, or x squared minus 11 is equal to 0, in which case x is going to be equal to 4. Or over here, it would be x squared is equal to 11, which means x is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 11. So my final answer is going to be x is 4 plus or minus the square root of 11. And that's how you would approach this question here. So factorize by grouping is another thing that you want to keep your eye out for. Then we can come over here and we can go through this one here. So again, you just need to be able to recognize it. So you can kind of look at this and say, hey, if I was to group these together and group these together and factorize them, I think good things would happen. But you just have to recognize it. It's kind of skill within itself. So I can take out x squared here and be left with x minus a. And then over here, I will take out negative 11 and be left with x minus a. And as you can see, we were able to achieve what we wanted to, because this is the same as this, and that's what we want. And now I can take that out as a common factor. So it's going to be x minus a, and then x squared minus 11 is equal to 0. And then I can go x minus a is equal to 0, or x squared minus 11 is equal to 0, in which case I'm going to x is equal to a, or I would get x squared is equal to 11, which is x is equal to this plus or minus the square root of 11. So this is similar to what we saw before. So that means x is a, or plus or minus the square root of 11. And that's how you do those questions. So factorize by grouping. And then you're just using your null factor theorem to get what you need to get. But that's how you would approach these questions here. So factorize by grouping, as opposed to kind of taking out a common factor from everything, or as opposed to you've been given something factorized already, which is very nice. But hopefully that makes sense. In the next part, we'll go through some more examples. I'll see you then.